Good morning and welcome. Thanks so much for your opening remarks, Louis, and please do take advantage of his offer to enjoy the gallery while you're here today. We do have access to the entire gallery. That is part of our being here, so do enjoy and partake. So I certainly want to welcome you to what we are calling the 2011 Bright Buffalo Niagara Forum. Since this program was first offered as a way to bring investors and high-tech entrepreneurs together back in 2009, there has been an increasing emphasis on building a high-tech economy across this country. And how are we actually doing? Well, that's a pretty tough question in a down economy, to be sure. But there's a bright light for this region in the data that we're seeing. Just last year, Tech America's Cyber Cities study of high-tech jobs among 60 cities in the U.S. actually showed Buffalo as the fourth highest in job growth among only 7 cities that did have job growth in their high-tech sector in 2009. Thank you, Tech America, for the opportunity to share that stat. Obviously, we have far to go for the rest of the world to recognize this region, this part of the world, as a Silicon Valley of sorts. But we're on the right track, and that's what's most important. Your work and programs like this forum are an important contributor to changing our economy, our culture, and our mindset. So rebranding our event to the Bright Forum from the previous tongue twister title I won't try to name again this year, this goes hand in hand with having a new perspective where innovation and entrepreneurship have been declared a priority in our national agenda, with the launch this year of the Startup America Partnership by the Obama administration. A major driver of that announcement and initiative by the Obama administration is the Kauffman Foundation report and the findings showing that all net new job growth in this country over the past 3 decades has come from companies 5 years old or younger. So needless to say, the push is to grow our 21st century economy as quickly as possible. So it's not surprising that phrases such as entrepreneurial ecosystem, technology-based economic development, or what we call TBED for short, are becoming part of our everyday conversation, even here locally. But there is more than vocabulary. There is significant action in this regard. Along with new funding opportunities for innovation grants at the federal level, locally we are seeing equity investments in promising young high-tech companies such as those here today. And there is a recognition that there are many more of these deals to do. There are good deals in this region. Today you will see terrific investment opportunities in 4 high-tech areas: life sciences, IT, advanced manufacturing, and energy or clean tech. We know that high-tech firms require not only capital, but technology and talent. Therefore, besides encouraging marriages between investors and fundraising companies, the forum has provided a platform for supporting many initiatives that actually address the overall context or entrepreneurial ecosystem. So for example, the New York State Office of the Comptroller, a previous keynote speaker at this program, has launched the Appleseed Fund, a $15 million early stage investment vehicle. And as I speak, a $25 million seed fund bill is in the New York State Legislature. As another past keynote presenter at our program, nationally recognized Jumpstart Cleveland has now become a lead in a 5-state initiative bringing best practices in entrepreneurship across those areas. From the relationship that blossomed right here at this forum, our region drove New York State participation in this first-of-its-kind effort. More specifically, last fall, the Economic Development Administration awarded funding to our unique 19-county consortium across Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo, partners who I'm pleased to say are with us here today. The initiative is known as the Jumpstart New York Project, where we are partnered with Jumpstart Cleveland to accelerate our entrepreneurial ecosystem. Of course, this will include creation of a new seed fund for very early stage opportunities in high-tech, high-growth areas with business resources. Knowing that much of what we call our deal flow, it is early stage, no question about it. Again, many of those you'll see here today. We have been committed to building the angel investment community so crucial in supporting that phase of building businesses. Again, motivated by last year's nationally recognized speakers from the angel investment arena, Buffalo Angels have joined the Angel Capital Association since that time and have conducted important programs for our community just last month. In fact, this was done specifically in preparation for this forum, where we had programs led by Angel Capital Education Foundation facilitators. In turn, we have expanded the reach of this program to include companies and angels from an ever broader geography, which allows collaboration and what we understand as growing the regional co-investment, or what's known as syndication. And so I welcome all of you who have joined us today, not only from the Buffalo area, but also from Southern Ontario, from other parts of New York State, Pennsylvania, and even beyond. And in fact, we know that our reach extends well beyond this. How so? The entire program today is actually being streamed live on the web for people literally around the world to see. Of course, none of this would be possible without the tremendous support of so many contributors. I have to note that we have a substantial increase in the sponsorship and support this year, I think because the community appreciated that this is kind of a one-of-a-kind opportunity to jump in and bring all these different groups together. So I would like to specifically thank our growth stage sponsor, Superior Group, our startup stage sponsor, Watson Bennett Colligan and Schechter, our seed stage sponsors, Buffalo Expat Network, Buffalo Niagara Enterprise, Erie County Industrial Development Agency, Insight Consulting, National Grid, and ROI Financial Group. And our pre-seed stage sponsors, Blue Highway, Canisius College, Career Builder, Dopkins & Company, Ernst & Young, Excel Partners, HSBC, IMCO Diagnostics, RSM McGladrey, Nixon Peabody, Phillips Lytle, Mac Groups, and last, and certainly not least, Woods Oviatt Gilman. As I mentioned earlier, it's important for all of us to work together in supporting this entrepreneurial ecosystem. We are already planning next year's forum, and anyone who would wish to engage with us, we would love to have you part of the committee. A special thank you to all of the organizers from the committee, over 20 organizations represented there. A listing can be found in your program on page 9. And I also want to thank all of our COE, that is Center of Excellence, team members, interns Allison Perlroth, Julia Jornze-Silverberg, Stephanie Horn, Michael Rudroff. All of those are our future entrepreneurs to participate in your companies someday. And certainly I would be remiss not to recognize our organizer, par excellence, Business Development Associate Renata Bator. The best way for me to highlight the tremendous efforts is to ask all of our sponsors, organizers, and volunteers, if you could just please stand just for a quick moment so we can all give you a round of applause. Terrific. As a result of all this effort and generosity, you will be treated to outstanding speakers, panelists, and company presentations today. Certainly the luncheon and our closing reception at the Yacht Club are terrific as well. And you're free to take in the sights of the gallery all day, but we will be offering tours specifically that are guided at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. We do wish all of you can stay for the day, but we also know you have a lot of business to do, and we want you to do that business. So we encourage you to come and go throughout the day as you need. Please feel free to take phone calls outside the auditorium. If you could have your phones on silence while here, that would be terrific. We certainly want to make sure you join us after the 1-minute pitch session, as it's called, this afternoon, and that's when we will raffle off to a lucky winner a new Apple iPad 2, or iPad rather, 2. Now you must be present to win. We will wrap up with a reception at the Buffalo Yacht Club following the forum, and directions are on page 7 of your program. For the investors in the group, you picked up a 1-page investor follow-up insert in your program during registration today. I encourage you to fill this document in if you are interested in a confidential follow-up discussion, which the Western New York Venture Association will help set up for you and others who are interested in specific companies. There also is an email submission process you can follow. If you do wish to submit those live while you are here today, you can do that at the registration desk. Additional information can be found in your program at page 17. We have designated all companies who are fundraising, and we do have over 50 of those here today, with a gold sticker on their name tag. So this certainly should help folks identify those who are interested in conversations about investment. For those who are presenting, we encourage you to speak to these companies, not only when you catch them in the hallway, but they do have spots that they'll be staffing and standing by at various times of the program. One other unique feature we added this year is that the Bright Forum was able to partner with the Canadian Consulate, General Technology Growth Initiative, which is a relatively new multi-office initiative taking place twice a year across Canada to help them identify some of their high-tech opportunities. And these are in areas like clean tech, life sciences, IT, et cetera. And they want to make connections to U.S. markets. So you will actually hear today from two of these selected companies, see if I can say this one properly, Refficient Inc. and Payment Evolution. The importance of working cross-border, we all know about it. Here are some live examples where we're promoting it. We're certainly eager to continue this collaboration. So today you will have two exciting sessions following right after our opening remarks, starting with companies doing a 10-minute presentation format, and that will happen again this afternoon. Later this afternoon, you'll see a rapid-fire 1-minute presentation format of 15 companies. A very exciting way to wrap up the day. For our lunch and keynote address, we're thrilled to have UB alum Hatim Tiabji, a true innovator and entrepreneur from the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, who has joined us all the way from the West Coast, where he is CEO of Bytemobile, a leader in mobile computing solutions. And we have an illustrious panel of individuals from Southern Ontario and around the Northeast who will talk about success stories. Everybody wants success stories of angel investments. These are specific to cross-border investments and exits in line with our regional co-investing theme. So before the formal program kicks off with the company presenters, it's only appropriate that the forum opens with welcoming remarks from our community leaders. These are individuals who have tirelessly embraced the collaborative spirit and tried to advance this community through that spirit, all in service of trying to build the 21st century economy in this region. First, I would like to welcome the recently named 15th President of the University at Buffalo, Dr. Satish Tripathi.
Good morning. I'm really glad to have this opportunity to join you this morning on behalf of the University at Buffalo. The focus of this event on all the extraordinary possibilities that are generated from bright ideas and a commitment to innovative ideas resonates strongly with UB's mission and vision as a forward-looking 21st century research university. Through UB 2020, our long-range vision focused on building a great public research university. We're working together with our large community to build a thriving knowledge-based economy. After all, this is what 21st century research university like UB do best, generating the ideas, inventions, and innovations that save lives, improve the quality of life for people everywhere, and make a meaningful difference in the world around us. At UB, we have many yardsticks for measuring our success in this regard, including indicators of our contributions to industry and technology development in the region. For example, we can look at UB's record of technology transfer into the private sector. UB's Office of Science, Technology Transfer, and Economic Outreach, in short STORE, has graduated more than 100 companies from its incubator, including companies represented here today. The Center of Excellence for Bioinformatics and Life Sciences has nurtured and assisted dozens more. We can measure the large number of patents, licensing agreements, and disclosures awarded to our university faculty each year. Last year, we had 100 innovations that were disclosed by our faculty and researchers at UB, and more than 20 new patents awarded to UB. And we can look to the opportunities of our accomplished UB alumni like Hatim Tiabji, our distinguished keynote speaker today, whose achievement in industry have a truly global impact. Not only do UB alumni make unforgettable contributions around the globe, but here in Western New York, they also provide the professional backbone to our local economy. But ultimately, the best measure of our success is by examining our broader impact, the lives we make better, and the communities we improve, locally as well as globally. That is why at UB, we are focused on creating a better, stronger university and on achieving all the outcomes that come with us. Greater educational opportunities for our students, research breakthrough that will save lives and solve age-old problems, innovation, technology transfer, and commercialization in 21st century, social, cultural, and economic revitalization of our larger communities. This endeavor is very much a partnership with our larger communities. Building a 21st century innovative economy depends on all of us working together to realize this vision. Research universities like UB partnering with high-tech businesses and industry, hospitals and research partners, community leaders, government, and all sectors of our community to create a bright collective future. We're very pleased to have the opportunity to take part in today's forum as we work together to discuss these shared objectives together. Thank you for all you do in support of this vision. From the entrepreneurs who are taking technology from UB and beyond forward, to the inventors who provide the vital catalyst to bring innovation to marketplace. These are the kind of vital connections and partnerships we need to create the opportunity that will ensure a bright future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Satish, and it's so exciting to have you at the helm of the university. So the next speaker per your agenda actually was going to be our growth stage sponsor, Scott Stenslick, president of Superior Group. He tells me he has an investor eager to write a check already for one of the opportunities, so that we should just keep moving along, and we don't need formal comments per se, but I certainly want to recognize that Scott's support and his whole organization has been invaluable to this program 2 years running, and we just can't thank you enough. Certainly the talent needs in these growing sectors are ones that are challenging and new and different, so it's exciting, but organizations like Superior Group are playing a key role. So with that, we will move along, and it is now my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of Niagara Falls, Paul Deister.
Thanks very much. As Marnie said, my name's Paul Deister. I'm mayor of the city of Niagara Falls, a city that 100 years ago was on the very cutting edge of science and technology, not just in North America, but in the world. Scientists like Edison, Westinghouse, Tesla, jostled, men with big egos all looking to leave their mark on the world scientific landscape had come here to Western New York to be part of the scientific revolution then occurring in the region. Centered on the creation of the hydropower industry, which was the sort of Silicon Valley of its day. Today in the city of Niagara Falls, we're striving to make Niagara Falls once again a leader in the new economy. And I'm the guy that's been charged by the city of Niagara Falls with trying to outline that vision. Our efforts, I think, have paid off already in some key areas. We have managed to create a cluster of industries around the fields of renewable energy, materials recycling, right, which means taking things that were waste products and making them into something useful. We have a Canadian-based company, JBI, that's just gone public in Niagara Falls. That's found a process to break down waste plastic back into its petroleum components, a very, very exciting process. Sometimes it means making a product that was made with primary resources before with recyclable materials, or taking a product that wasn't recyclable once we were done with it before and making it in a new way so that it can be recyclable. We're working with a Quebec-based company called Rampac that's getting ready to make a big announcement about a project in that area. We're also very interested in anything having to do with alternative transportation and the supply chain for everything from components that someday will be part of President Obama's high-speed rail system, to the things that are going to be missing when all of a sudden the demand for hybrid and electric vehicles jumps, and we find out that there aren't enough batteries in the market for all the vehicles that people want to purchase. So we're trying to do the right thing in terms of the economy in Niagara Falls. So, what are the critical needs that we have in order to continue with this, and what can this conference do to help assist with meeting those needs? Marnie has been inviting me to speak at this forum each year that I've been mayor, and I've been happy to oblige her. I think it's very, very valuable, and I think I've understood when I've spoken here before what the forum was about. But at about 6:30 this morning, while I was in the shower, it suddenly dawned on me what the kernel or the essence of this conference was, and I was even more flattered to have been invited this year, because it seems to me that at this particular juncture for our region, and for me that I've been educated by my friend Bob Shibley from the University of Buffalo. Our region is a binational region. It extends in an arc roughly from at least Rochester and probably Syracuse all the way around Lake Ontario up to Toronto and beyond. There's a challenge that we face within that region at this point in time. I think this group is uniquely suited to help meet it. I have a little story to tell. It was what I was thinking of in the shower that sort of led me to this great insight. I remember several years back, sitting around the breakfast table with my son, who was then embarking upon the start of a college education, which he is still in the process of completing. And he turned to me, and I worked as a college professor in the first half of my career, and he asked me, he said, "Dad, if you're so smart, how come we're not rich?" By which I think he meant something like, if you've got a PhD from Johns Hopkins University, why don't I have a Jaguar or at least a new 10-speed bicycle, right? So I thought about this for a moment, and the sort of first answer that rolled off my tongue was something like, well, son, I've always been content to accept the salary that was being offered for whatever the position was that I thought God had called me to perform in that particular point in my career. And he looked at me as though I had two heads, and as I thought about it for a while, I realized why. So, in thinking about it a little more, I came back to him later that day and I said, well, I remember this concept from back in graduate school studying organization theory at Johns Hopkins, this concept of the disjuncture of knowledge and power. And I think that's the problem here, son, because money is basically a form of power, right? It's a way of transferring wealth from one geographic area to another, or from one form of value, to another. So it's basically a form of power. And the people who are smart, I learned in graduate school, aren't always the people who have power. Now, in organization theory, this was principally an issue that was studied in the context of decision making, right? So the idea was, in an organization, you try to identify who the decision makers are and then make certain that they have the information that they need in order to make the most effective, rational decision about what it is that their organization needs to do going into the future. And we know that in the economy, we hope those that have power in the form of money, power in the form of capital to invest, will make wise decisions. But how do we know that they're going to do that? How do we know that power and knowledge are going to come together at some point? At the very beginning of the entrepreneurial process, I guess this isn't much of an issue. I've been involved in a business startup myself. I know what this is like, right? You do research at the beginning of the startup of a small business. You go to the supermarket, you figure out which of the packages of 99-cent hot dogs really is the best tasting, because you're going to be eating them for 5 years, right? Okay. You get a can of Bondo from the auto repair place because you're going to be driving a rusty car. You get a new mattress because you're going to have to get as much rest as you can in the 4 or 5 hours of sleep that you're going to be getting, and so on. And then you head out and visit every single one of your friends and relatives and shake them down for every possible nickel that you can get from them. You take all the money out of your retirement fund and scrape up, you go to the piggy bank and shake that thing. And you develop enough capital probably to get your business started and to reach some certain point with it, right? So with that end of the process, I think we're in reasonably good shape as long as we have that entrepreneurial spirit here in the U.S., and I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon, all right? Once you reach a certain point in the success of a business venture, that is, once you no longer need money, You know, I've heard that it's easier to borrow, right? Once you have an established company, right, where, you know, your P&Ls speak for themselves, where you have a track record over a long period of time of performance, or maybe you're so successful that you're too big to fail, you know, then the government will help you, or the banking system will help you, right? But there's a place in between that's a very, very critical place, and that's the place that is addressed in a meeting like this, right? What happens once you've reached the point where you have a process that needs to go that next step, where it really begins to benefit society, benefit the economy, benefit the ecology, and you don't know where to go to get the capital to make the investments that are needed to commercialize a product and move it out into a broader marketplace. One thing I can tell you here, and Chris Collins, you know, is on the other side of the aisle politically, will be happy to hear me say this. I'm a Democrat, but don't come looking to us, the government, for that money, all right? Because we don't have it, right? We'll try to do everything that we can, hopefully, to reduce the regulatory burden on businesses, and we do try to provide seed capital at critical points in the process. But Ken Adams, who has a business background, Governor Cuomo wisely has appointed him to head Empire State Development, is reminding everyone as he goes around making a tour in the state, the economy of New York State is $1 trillion. And even under the best of circumstances, and these are not those, the amount of money that Empire State Development has for economic development assistance is about $1 billion. Sounds like a lot. It's 1/10 of 1% of the state economy. No matter how much leveraging you get with 1/10 of 1% of the state economy, you're not going to be able to fill that critical gap. So what that means is that we need private sector investors to step to the plate. What is the most critical resource in all of this? It's money that people are willing to invest wisely and with social conscience. We believe that there's some people who fit that description that are in this room here today. We ask you not just to invest with vision, but also to invest wisely. All right? One of the things that we know, there are a lot of ways of acquiring money. You can inherit money. You can become a famous rock star or a professional athlete. You can go buy the right lottery ticket or whatever, but you won't keep that money very long for yourself or your family if it is not invested wisely, all right? And so those of you who have stewardship over great fortunes, you have a duty to make wise decisions, not just to society, all right, but also to the preservation of that capital, to the preservation of wealth for your future generations, and making wise decisions about how to invest it is the best way to do that. As I said, I'm more particularly honored this year to have been invited to address this group because I think I finally figured out, Marnie, what it is all about. And I look forward to the opportunity to meet with any of you who are interested to try to advance business ventures in the increasingly green city of Niagara Falls. Even more important, I encourage you to strike up relationships with one another that pull together these critical elements of entrepreneurship, right, scientific knowledge, and investment capital. This holy trinity here that I think is going to be very, very important in the development of a successful future for our binational region. Thank you very much and have a great conference.
Thanks so much, Paul. Now on behalf of the Mayor's Office for Buffalo, we are very pleased to have the Executive Director, a very important office there, the Office of Strategic Planning, and I welcome Brenda Mahaffey.
I'm going to keep my comments short because I want to see that check get written for the investor already. So I've just got a few things to follow on Mayor Deister's great little overview there of what we're here to accomplish today, to talk about the city of Buffalo and this region generally, and why it's a wise decision to invest. Some things that people don't necessarily, don't strike them necessarily about the city of Buffalo, but Mayor Brown, who I'm here representing today, has initiated something called the Green Code, which part of that is completely redoing the City of Buffalo's future land use plan. And it's forced us to really examine the City of Buffalo and its development over the past 100 years and why we are where we are today and where we're going in the next 100 years after this. And some of the interesting things to come out of that to understand is people will look at the shrinking population and those types of statistics, but understanding and analyzing them a bit more, there's a lot to say that this is a great place to invest. I think driving that in particular is the idea of advanced degrees. For the people in this room, you want to make sure that there's a workforce that demonstrates that the money you're investing is going to be developed in a way to see that it is developed in a way that is clearly a good business decision. Well, the city of Buffalo ranks in the top 10 of advanced degree growth in the country. That's probably not what people think about this area. In addition to that statistic, the city of Buffalo ranks in the top 10 for growth metropolitan domestic product growth. So we are growing wealthier as a region. So our advanced degrees are growing, and we're growing wealthier as a region. The second thing is, although the message might not always be the best, people get it. We have one of the lowest out-migration rates in the country. When people come here, they stay here. The other aspect of this is the real estate market and that indication in wealth in the base real estate market that we were second to Raleigh in real estate growth. So all of these indicators show that this is a place that has growth and is ripe for continuing growth because we have those advanced degrees. The mayor of Buffalo has made it a commitment to make this a great place to invest. In doing so, he's cut business taxes for 5 years in a row in the city of Buffalo. He's also made a 3-year pledge to not increase those taxes as well. So from a tax-based perspective, this is a good place to invest. The city of Buffalo also making its wise decision in how it uses its money now has a surplus and continues to maintain that surplus. The city of Buffalo also is not an island unto itself. A very important part of showing that this is a place for wise investment, again, is showing that there's a regional collaboration, and the county executive can talk to this to some degree, in the fact that there is a partnership between the municipalities called the Framework for Regional Growth, which is directing public investment in the wisest way to make sure that we keep our taxes low and that we benefit the investments that are made in this area. So to build off of the points that Mayor Deister was making, this is a place a wise decision, if you will, to invest in this area. The elements are there for future growth. The growth is there currently. We have, again, the advanced degrees. We have the wealth. We have the real estate market. This is a great example of the fact that we have the culture. We have the things that keep people here. Again, this is the place to write that check and to build that business because, again, people will stay, and this is a place where the business will grow. So with that, on behalf of Mayor Byron Brown, I welcome you. I encourage you to write as many checks as possible for the local businesses in this area.
Thanks so much, Brendan. And certainly last but not least ever, Chris Collins, our Erie County Executive.
Thanks, Marty. I guess since I am last, I'm going to actually keep it brief. I just want to thank everyone for coming because the jobs that matter are the jobs that you're going to create. It's not government jobs. I'm doing what I can in Erie County to reduce the number of government jobs. It's private sector jobs that matter. And the fact that I'm in a room full of optimists, I mean, what better place to be? Because you wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you weren't an optimist. Because those of you that are investing money are going to be taking a flyer on a company on the pre-seed stage that doesn't exist. And for those of you that are in the pre-seed stage, you're going to be trying to create a successful enterprise when the odds are absolutely against you. So you wouldn't be here if you weren't an optimist. It also means that this is going to be a group of people that are going to live to be a ripe old age because optimists live longer. You may be broke, but you're going to live longer. As long as you don't eat hot dogs. You know, I don't know about hot dogs. But really, I just want to thank you for the energy that's in the room, the collaborations, because we are a very collaborative community. What UB does with the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership, what we're trying to do at the Erie County IDA, Al Culleton will be talking to you. We refocused that 3.5 years ago on small business. Yeah, we'd like to see the big companies come in, but what really matters is one job at a time, 2 jobs here, 1 job there. So we're doing things at the Erie County IDA to help companies access capital. We no longer require a bank to participate in loans. because right now the banks have in many cases shut off small business loans. So the Erie County IDA, not so much in the pre-seed stage, but certainly in the growth stage, has monies available where for the first time ever we'll loan that money without a participating bank. I think, Al, we just made our first loan last month on that basis. So I look at it as government's job to create an environment for you to create a job. Government doesn't create the jobs that matter. You do. And all we can do is try to get out of your way and let you do it. We need to really, and I can do it here as best I can, but we need to have an environment where we celebrate success. We don't denigrate success. There's too much of that going on in this country today, where those of you that are taking the risks we should be celebrating your success and not penalizing it. And we do have government too often that really got the wrong rhetoric going on. But I'm an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I sit in your seat. I know what it's like to raise money. There's only one country in the world today that hasn't suffered a recession, and that's Australia. I will tell you, there's a lot of money in Australia. So maybe at some point in time, you know, certainly in the biotech arena, there are investors, and you could have your company here. But I'll just throw that out as the one spot where there's more money than you could imagine. So again, thank you for coming out. Thank you for what you're going to do and taking the risks to create one job at a time. We want those jobs here. There's a saying, you either grow or you die. New York State's been dying for 50 years. We've lost 40% of our population. We've got to turn the corner. You can't shrink to success. So it's your jobs that will help us grow. And I would just leave you with this one thought for those of you who are trying to raise money. Remember the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rule. Thank you.